I tried to buy a $1 billion multifamily office, and what I discovered absolutely shocked me to the core. So I recently tried to buy a $1 billion multifamily office, and what I discovered the fund manager was doing with that money nearly made me spit out my coffee. So multifamily offices where multiple wealthy families come together, they pool their money, and typically you have a fund manager that is there to get the best returns for that money. Now, in this particular case, this was a $1 billion multifamily office. What that means is the AUM, the assets under management, was 1 billion. And the way that was divided was, roughly speaking, each of 10 families had put in $100 million. And the fee that they were paying to the fund manager to manage this money for them was 3% a year. So that's $30 million a year in fees. So what was interesting about this deal was a couple of things. The first thing was, first of all, even though this gentleman was making $30 million a year from this deal, it was actually a distraction to his core business. And he wanted to sell this multifamily office because he had bigger projects to work on. So that was the first insight. There's always a bigger game. There's always a bigger prize that people are looking for. But the second thing was much, much more shocking. And that was, how is this money being invested? And what I learned there completely changed the way I think about value. When we started due diligence, I expected sophisticated trading strategies, complex hedge positions, maybe some private equity deals. Instead, he just showed me bank statements. He was holding their money, this $1 billion, in a bank account. That's it. No trading, no investing, no deal flow, just an account paying about 4 to 5% interest. So he was keeping 3%. The families were getting 1 to 2%. Like I said, I practically gagged on my coffee. My first thought was, this guy must be the greatest salesman of all time. How on earth did he get away with this? How do you convince 10 ultra-wealthy families to pay you $30 million a year to steward their money into a bank account? But then he explained something that made me realize how many opportunities I've probably missed over the years. So the main insight was, these families had one rule: make money if you can, but never lose money. This wasn't their entire wealth. It was their certainty fund. They weren't buying investment performance, they were buying peace of mind. They had other pools of money that they did more creative, more exciting stuff with. But this particular pool of money, they just wanted downside protection. They weren't paying $30 million a year to be ripped off by some fund manager. They were paying almost like an insurance. They were paying for security. Now, on the face of this, you're probably thinking, this is crazy. Like, why would they pay $30 million a year to have that money put in the bank account? They could just put it in a bank account themselves. And I think what's interesting to understand, and the really big insight here, is we tend to view every opportunity that we see through our own lens. We assume people have the same needs, values, desires that we do. And yet in this particular case, the gentleman that had put this fund together knew what these families wanted. And what these families wanted was security. They weren't looking for exotic deals. They had other pots of money that they did that with. And so ultimately, he had started off with a relatively safe 8 or 9% a year. After a few years, he decided that was no longer a safe option. And with the family's permission, he instead moved their capital into a bank. Now, technically, by the time he had taken his fees, they were actually losing money because of inflation. But to them, it was more important to have that cash on hand when they needed it than to have it tied up in bonds or real estate deals. Drove me back to this question: how many times have I lost a deal? How many times have you lost a deal because you assumed that the other party was looking for the same things that you're looking for? It was a really, really important lesson to me to get very, very clear on what the other person in the deal is actually looking for and deliver what they want, not what you think they want. Turns out we all have different perceptions of value. And if you want more insights from deals that did work out and deals that didn't work out, hit subscribe and I'll keep sharing. Thanks for watching. My name is Callum Laing. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been doing this for about 25 years. I've taken about 100 companies public. I now run a $100 million fund. I continue to take companies public. I've written 4 best-selling books on different business topics, and I run a bunch of courses and programs to help people like you to get ahead. People that are typically find themselves or feel like they're on the outside and they want to hack access to the inside. And I've been lucky enough to work with hundreds or thousands of people now at this point and get them ahead of where they think they could be. So we've got things like a 10-day free email course, which is called Career Accelerator. So if you're right at the beginning of your role, if you're looking to build your media exposure, we've got programs for that. If you want to build your board career, we have a very successful program called the Veblen Director program, where you can get on the first board seat. If you're interested in capital raising, we've got GILD members, which is all about how to raise capital, and it's a great global network of capital introducers. We also have Unity Group, which is where I spend most of my time, which if you are a small business owner, that you're profitable, you're well established, and you want to use the capital markets to scale, please come and talk to me there. If you're an investor, we have some very unique products that allow you to get maximum capital appreciation and also high yield products there as well. So hopefully I've covered wherever you are in your journey. I'd love to hear from you. Like, subscribe, do all of those kind of things. Also follow me on LinkedIn for more regular updates. And thank you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments.